Retail Therapy. My name's Will. In the studio with me today, as always, Barrett Dudley. How we doing today, Barrett?
I'm just, I'm really proud of us for going back to back with fall fashion and in and out. Maybe we've done that before, but I mean, we're just like, we're hitting them with the heavy gloves.
Barrett.
1-2, September Eppies, just going dumb with it.
You might think that we're taking on a lot right now.
Yeah.
But let me remind you of fall winter 2023.
Okay.
Where we did fall fashion episode and in and out in the exact same episode.
Well, that's insane.
I was shocked when I went back to go see how we structured it last year. I was absolutely shocked that we were willing to do that because that is so much information.
Okay, all right. It's almost too much information. But we also had a separate episode with Laura and Sally.
True.
Doing women's fashion.
True.
That's
True.
Yeah. So that was kind of the two.
I
big
like
ones
separating
last year.
them because I think that if we did the in and outs while we did fall fashion, a lot of our in and outs would be fall fashion driven. And if anything, I was trying to look at my in and out list and say, okay, I don't want to go just fashion stuff. I want to try to go culture, food, dining,
totally,
whatever.
We were kind of on the same wavelength there. I've got a couple of fashion related stuff on my ins just because we didn't really, we either didn't hit them last week or they're kind of like new spins on some of the things that we were talking about that have now kind of coalesced into something that makes more sense to me, I think. But yeah, I think we were both kind of like, yeah, I didn't want to put a bunch of fall fashion stuff because we kind of covered our ins and outs in a roundabout way last week already with the fall fashion. So yeah, it's nice to focus on some other stuff here, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I don't know how I feel about my list right now.
Okay.
I've been adding and subtracting things at a rapid clip, and so the episode kind of just interrupted that process. And so we're just going to go with it. I have a couple things that are not on the screen right now that are existing in my document that are things that I'm wavering on that I'll bring up at the end of the episode.
Got it. Okay.
Have you made any cops for fall since our last episode recording?
So if you follow us on Substack, then you may have seen a little kind of editorial column that I posted about all the shoes that I had in all of my carts across the World Wide Web. I have brought in some of those for sizing.
Okay.
So that I am ready to pull trig.
Okay.
Come either cold weather or sale.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So I've tried out a couple of the boots that are on there, and then my purchase is, well, we'll see. I'm deciding on these two. There's a pair of Vans that are like the pearlized kind of studded Vans.
Well, I mean, GQ said it's time to start wearing Vans again.
Yeah, jeez. Yes, they did. Which the thing is, I don't think we as a podcast were ever out on Vans.
No,
I think we stayed true. I think we were real ones, and that was like, they exist in I feel like the same world that Sambas exist for us, which is that
for me they very much do.
Right? Like, okay, they might trend up and trend down, but I never stopped wearing Vans over the last 6 years or whatever it's been.
The only reason I will look at someone wearing Vans and say they shouldn't be wearing Vans is because they're wearing an ugly pair of Vans. It's not because they're Vans. It's simply, I'm like, why, out of all the Vans that you could get, that you could customize yourself, why are you wearing those ones?
Yeah.
I think friend groups have this, I don't even want to call it a problem. Friend groups have this thing where sometimes you just all latch onto something. And my hometown friend group definitely latched onto Vans at a long time ago. And it's just been the staple sneaker ever since.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I'm not wearing my other ones. I'm wearing my Vans today.
The other thing, there was so we didn't talk about this on the pod, but Claire Wright Keller, who is a famous British designer, I believe, that's been at the helm of some big houses. She was officially named the creative director of Uniqlo just recently, just a couple of weeks ago. And she already has a line there called Uniqlo C. And they just put out some fall stuff a couple of weeks back, and I grabbed a pair of wider leg sweats from that collection.
How's that going for you?
They're great. They're phenomenal. And I mean, the price on this stuff, I think they were $40. Maybe they were maybe $50.
Why don't you go on Aimé Leon Dore and just pay 3 figures for each?
Yeah, I could have done that. I could have, get a nice little script logo on there maybe. Yeah.
And some diminished quality from the old stuff.
Yeah, the thing about it is I love luxury sweats. Don't get me wrong. Beautiful French terry, nice tasteful ALD logo on them. Like, I'm not above that. No way.
No.
But look, life is messy, man. And I never wear my pair of expensive sweats because I don't want to ruin them. I'm wearing them around the house. I got the dogs around me. There's just too much. There's too much happening.
If I buy nice sweats,
I need inexpensive sweats.
If I buy nice sweats, they're going to last longer than I need them to. But yes. I'm going to want to replace them before they need to get replaced.
Yeah, 100%.
I have a pair of sweatpants that I wear quite regularly, and they are nice. But I don't wear them in public ever because I can't really pull that off right now. Maybe I'll figure out a way to pull that off this fall.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just strictly an at-home thing, and they get absolutely treasurized, and so they're in the hot wash at all times, getting dried on high heat. These things I'm putting them through it, and they still look great. I'll just say it's Ayer.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy them, but they're lasting too long.
Yeah. So, but they're nice, great silhouette. I think they might still have the green pair available. If you did not jump on Uniqlo C, new drop fall winter Uniqlo U coming out later this week. I think it's the 26th or the 27th. That's Christopher Lemaire's line at Uniqlo, and some of the stuff looks absolutely gas. So pay attention to that because it's all super well priced as well. But yeah, that's where I'm at for fall. And I'll stash those sweats for 3 months, but I had to get them while they were hot.
I've made 3 fall purchases. No, I'm sorry. I've made 2 fall purchases with a third in mind. I've gotten a sweater in the mail, Deadhead sweater from Rowing Blazers. Not a place I usually shop, but I was like, you know what? This piece is going to be fun to wear for years to come. I've got a vest that came in, kind of a canvasy vest from eBay. And then the only thing I'm waiting on is we talked about it last week with the Abercrombie 90s fit.
Mm-hmm.
They have one wash that's blue jeans that I just really enjoy. They don't have them in my size, and I'm not willing to not get them in my size and get them tailored because I'm just anti.
You're waiting for that restock?
I'm just waiting for the restock. Yeah. I can get some other ones in the same blue color, but it's just not something I want to do.
Yeah. Well, have you, just thinking about the sweats conversation, the wearing nice stuff around the house, have you been tuning in to the second half of Emily in Paris yet on Netflix?
No spoilers. I'm only 1 episode into the second drop of episodes.
Okay, same. Same.
Okay.
Watched it last night. It's a Christmas episode for those that haven't seen it.
Yep.
No spoilers, don't worry. The way that everybody dresses at the house for Christmas, is something that I absolutely love in movies and TV shows, and is so far from any version of reality. And I hate that that's true. I hate that it's not real. Because I love when people look absolutely fabulous for Thanksgivings and Christmases and these group dinners, beautiful houses, beautiful parties. You've got all your friends and family. Everybody's looking just absolutely stunning in the most gorgeous clothes you've ever seen. This does not happen. Does this happen, Will?
No.
Am I wrong? Or am I just a slob hanging out with slobby people?
My dad enjoys dressing up.
The fits they're getting off.
Yeah.
In at the French chalet are nuts.
When you walk into my parents' house on Christmas night, everyone's dressed pretty nicely for dinner.
Okay.
But that is the only time we look nice on Christmas.
Yeah.
It is solely sweaters and button-down shirts.
Right.
And stuff like that. But it's not it's not like that Emily in Paris had the quiet luxury going on in the Alps. You know what I mean? Ours looks like the Midwest.
And the not so quiet luxury from Emily herself.
True.
Who does not do quiet.
Whereas we have just the classic Midwest Christmas story Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. There. And it's also hard because typically Christmas is about 72 degrees here.
Yeah.
In Central Texas. So it's the best you can do is a pair of jeans and a button up. You know what I mean?
I wore a sweatshirt to Christmas at Sally's family's house a couple years ago, and I was drenched in sweat. I was I need to change out of this.
But I don't know. Someday it's an aspirational goal for me is to have something around the holidays in where people feel they feel encouraged and inspired to just like go all out like that. Because I was laughing at all the outfits, but also I was like, this is tight.
But you're a big Camille fan. You've told me you love her. You love her character in the show. You really sympathize with her.
Yeah.
You support her in all her endeavors.
Yeah.
I cannot get over how much I hate her character this season.
No, we actually as soon as we watched the episode last night, we were like, man, they are really making her hateable.
Like I feel like the writers of Emily in Paris are like, okay, everyone is generically likable, so we need one person that is the absolute worst, who's not like the villain, like not a true villain in villain sense, but just making the most annoying decisions you can possibly make. I did like her outfit for skiing, though. She just kind of looked like an earthworm. She had the full on like spandex like cap.
I paused with the skiing outfits to talk about the skiing outfits.
It's outrageous.
I mean, they were insane. They were insane. All three, Gabrielle, Camille, and Emily. All three of those outfits were batshit insane for skiing.
Correct. Correct. Love the show. Absolutely love that show.
Yeah. I was also thinking like well, I don't want to give anything away, so I'll say this in so many words, but like I'm looking forward to Emily potentially like getting out of France for a little bit.
Are they going to show that?
But like, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But just like give me all of the Sylvie and like the agency ghetto, like that's what Gretto. That's where I'm living right now. That's my shit. I'm the Emily thing. That's all that. Kind of out. I'm less interested in that right now. They need to juice me back up a little bit.
I'm very high on the rise of Luke. He is the one who is dating the Michelin. Yeah, he needs to be.
Yeah, Luke and Julian and Sylvie.
Everybody.
Like, let me get a spinoff of with that. Crew.
Yeah, give Sylvie her own show.
Yeah,
I'm watching that. Give Sylvie a movie or something. Like, just do something. I love Sylvie.
They got her old the Queen of the Night. Her mom, the old like.
Oh yeah.
I want to know more about her.
Sylvie's
her husband back.
There
in
was
the picture,
a scene where they had
clubs.
Sylvie in the morning, and like her pajamas were the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I was like, did she put on nipple tape for her pajamas? Like she went to bed the night before and like fastened everything, went to sleep perfectly, probably with her like $5,000 like sleep mask on, and then woke up just looking like $1 million.
Yeah.
Big Sylvie guy.
Well, we might have a little bit more Emily in Paris talk as we get through.
Perfect. That's what I want.
Some of my ins and outs.
Well, before we get to today's ins and outs, let's do some quick announcements. Retailpod.substack.com. We are fully caught up on listener digest links, everything you need. We will be better about that now that our summer vacation is over. So just keep an eye out for that. Please go subscribe. We've eclipsed 2,000 followers on there, Barrett.
Sick.
I'm pretty happy with that trajectory just based on how we started. So we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend watching these episodes, especially last week's episode on YouTube. YouTube.com/Sunday Scaries podcast is where everything lives. You can go follow us at retail.pod on Instagram. And as always, go get your retail therapy scented candle at vellabox.com/Sunday Scaries. But today's In and Out episode is presented by Magic Mind. I'm holding a Magic Mind right here. Little tiny shot. Not much. Let's see how much it is. It is 2 ounces. And guess what? It's a mental performance shot. In addition to your daily routine that gets you focused, mentally clear, motivated, and productive while reducing stress with mushroom nootropics and adaptogens. Plus, it's got over 100% of your daily value of vitamin C and vitamin D per bottle. Does that sound interesting to you, Barrett?
It does.
5 years ago, they set out to create a drink that can consistently get you to 100% mental performance without the down effects of overcaffeination, jitters, and anxiety. And this is 100% safe. All ingredients are third-party tested and sourced from the best suppliers. It's just, it's not a coffee replacement. You don't have to replace your coffee because who wants to replace their coffee? We all like drinking our coffee in the morning, but the L-theanine in this, it makes your coffee last all day. A lot of people are doing optimized coffees with that in it. Just try the Magic Mind. It gives you a sharper mind, lower stress, better energy. It's time-released caffeine. Caffeine doesn't actually give you energy. It blocks the, I'm going to botch this word because I'm not a scientific person, but it blocks the adenosine neuroreceptors in your brain. They're the neuroreceptors that tell you that you're tired. And when the receptors unblock 1 to 3 hours later, you experience a sudden drop in energy called the caffeine crash. Their formula of 12 active ingredients to help support your body's energy engine, ATP instead, day after day. And Magic Mind is not a fleeting charge up. It's an enhancement for a brilliant today and an even better tomorrow. And it even gives you less stress. They've included herbs in Magic Mind's formula that provide safe and effective stress reduction, a sense of calmness, and a lifted mood without hurting your energy bank. We've had this stuff in the office for a while now. We were very excited when they came on board as a presenting sponsor. And I have to say, it does not last long in our office. A lot of people taking it very quickly. You have it's a limited offer that you can use right now. It gets you up to 48% off your first subscription or 20% off one-time purchases with code RETAILTherapy. All one word. Use code RETAILTherapy at checkout. You can claim it at magicmind.com/retailtherapy. Again, magicmind.com/retailtherapy.
I'm sold.
Where do you want to start today, Barrett? I never know where to start with these. We got a lot on the screen.
Man. Let's see. Let's find some common ground here. Unless you have these in any particular order.
I don't. If anything, I'm probably going to look at some of my things on my list and be like, why is that on there? I shouldn't have actually sent that.
Okay. Let's start with some hotel stuff.
Okay.
Let's go with your first in.
Okay. I said hotel logos. We talked about it last week. There's been a rise in the flex of having a nice hotel logo on something that you're wearing. And I think this is very true. And I think that people are enjoying this. And I also think that this is very much affected by how old we are. I don't mean that we're old, but I think that people now are at an age where they kind of put a nice hotel on a pedestal. We can afford nicer hotels these days. People are looking harder and harder to find cool hotels. And if you stay at a nice hotel and you're spending that money, it's like playing a nice golf course. You want to commemorate that with some type of logo, some type of something to show, hey, yeah, I've been here. I've been around the world. And I think right now is the time. If you're going to be at a nice hotel, you got to go hit that gift shop and find something to flex.
You do. And that's why it can be quite devastating when you find a hotel that you love and think that it would be awesome to represent it globally, and then they don't offer anything.
It's a shame.
You know?
So we stayed at a hotel called Villa d'Este in Lake Como for one night. They have a really cool logo. It looks very old school, kind of like almost like a coat of arms kind of thing. And on our way out, we were like, man, I guess they just don't have a gift shop here. But that kind of makes sense. Like, it's a really high-end hotel. Like, they probably just have stores at some place. And as we were pulling out, we saw, oh, there's the gift shop. And walked in, and I was so excited to get like something branded. Mm-hmm. But they took it too far. Like, everything was so nice that I was like, oh no, well, I'm not going to pay like $250 for a pullover with the logo on it.
But they had that?
They did. They had everything. But it was just like, I want to flex, but I think I'm going to have to flex if I ever stay here just a second time. I needed time. I wasn't ready to spend the money.
I am, color me shocked, Will. I'm surprised that you didn't just, drop the black card for the $250.
Yeah, you know how it be. You know how it be. I was trying to. I was when we were in Italy, I was in the mentality of don't spend unnecessary money. Yeah. Like, you've already paid for this trip, so you can escape this trip with a pretty minimal credit card bill if you try. And I did a pretty good job of that. Yeah, like, I was very happy with how frugal I was there, and it's also made easier by the fact that drinks and one of your outs, drinks were not $20 a drink.
Yeah. I've pulled up the Ace Hotel here just because whenever I've stayed at an Ace, they have cool merch. And so this is just like, if you work for a hotel and you're listening right now, just go give them a look, see what they're up to, because this is like, and maybe this is like a little American centric, it's very, it's merchy, it's kind of streetweary. It's totes and tees and hats and all that type of stuff. So you can class this up. If you want to, you can elevate this a little bit. But this is, it's nice that you can go to the Tokyo Ace Hotel and be able to like buy this hat for $30 and remember your experience. Or this is actually $50, excuse me.
Something I like about it is just the nostalgia of it. Whenever I put on something with that, I'm like, you know what? That was a great trip. I had a really good time doing that. I kind of enjoy being here.
Okay. I'm gonna pop over to an out.
Okay.
Because it's hotel related.
Okay.
I don't know if this has been clogging your feed recently, but apparently the Michelin network, the old Michelin tire company that is famous for doling out stars to restaurants, is now giving out keys to hotels.
Like actual keys? Or this is the Michelin star?
This is the Michelin star, is a Michelin key. now
Okay.
for hotels. Now,
I thought you were talking like Charlie XCX is currently selling a key necklace that says 365 on
Okay.
it on her website. I think it's to do key
is that
bumps
for
with
doing
of cocaine.
Right, of cocaine? Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't know if Michelin was getting into that game.
No, it's slightly different. I've got issues with this for a lot of reasons. One, Michelin, stay in your lane.
Yes.
Let's just stick to the food. Let Zagat's or whoever like dole out the 5 Diamond Award or whatever it is that Al Pacino wants for his hotel in Ocean's 13. But this is upsetting to me for a number of reasons. One, I am very, very, very worried about the price of hotels that are suddenly awarded.
It's going to double.
Key.
It's going to double.
Like we're already at a point where it feels like getting any type of hotel that you might be proud of staying at is like the floor is $500 a night.
Yeah.
And that's if you like stay on a Tuesday, typically, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's, you can stay at the South Congress Hotel for $400 a night sometimes, but routinely, like I'm seeing 5s and 6s and 7s, and God forbid you want to stay anywhere that's like, a real true piece of luxury. You're at 4 figures, no question, right? Are the keys really necessary to determine which hotels are like are worth their salt?
No.
Like I don't think so. I think that hotels so much more than food and restaurants like that consistency is what they do. You know what I mean? Like that's why we like staying at hotels is because we know what we're getting. We're getting our room cleaned, we're getting good service, we're getting like we're getting our bags brought up. Like all these things that hotels are, they're so much more like service focused than even a restaurant to me.
Yeah.
That this feels unnecessary. And on top of that, like I think we had 5 or 6 hotels in Austin get a key. So it also feels like they're just not being very like
we don't
particular.
Okay, I need to look up a list and see.
And like
because
5 bunkhouse hotels got keys, and like I'm a huge bunkhouse fan. Like San Cristobal in Todos Santos, probably my favorite hotel going right now. Like it's deserving of honors, but like it got a key, and the Genevieve Hotel in New Orleans got a key, and St. Cecilia got a key, and like we're just throwing out keys all of a sudden.
Yeah, it seems sloppy,
and it seems a little sloppy, and it feels like it should be. If these are supposed to be the same as Michelin stars, it feels like it should be reserved for the absolute tippy top, which I couldn't afford anyway. Like, stop coming to my like cool little boutique hotels.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
The ones that I can sort of afford, because I'm not going to. I'm not staying at.
This needs to be a pay for play scenario where these hotels are paying for their keys. I want them to be the ones shelling out and not making more money on us.
But like I can't stay at the $1,200 a night places anyway. So let's just reserve the keys if we're going to do this for the absolute cream of the crop. The White Lotus spot in Sicily or whatever. That place deserves a key. I don't know that Hotel San Jose here in Austin deserves a key.
My worry about this is that certain hotels will get bestowed this honor. Those hotels will raise their prices, and those hotels will completely misuse how they use the money to go even further. Like, something that has annoyed me lately about hotels that are on the nicer end is when they skew to hotel and they start making you feel like you're at Disney World, and there's just stuff everywhere that like everything feels very planned out and like, no, this is what you do here.
Okay,
and it's like, I want to be somewhere that is like not very many people, very low key, quiet. I almost want it to be a hotel where people are on their honeymoon there, so that it's just quiet and romantic and like whatever. I don't need these hotels that are trying to go for a Michelin key, where they're going over the top with these like amenities or certain things at restaurants that you just don't need. Like, not everything needs to be totally branded. Not everything needs to look the exact same. It just starts bringing me like Disney World vibes. And there's a world where Disney World is great, but there's also the world where I don't need it to be at every single place that I go. Like, it doesn't need to be so cookie cutter. I'm out on Michelin, please. I like this.
Yeah. Okay. Where to next? You got anything music related, Will?
Let me see. The closest thing I have to music related is my number 7 in, which is Britcore.
Okay.
But that's a little more all encompassing. And also my out, number 6, earbuds.
Okay. Just no, you're over the ear only.
I am not over the ear only. But after going on a couple trips the amount of people who are willing to spend $500+ on a pair of AirPod Maxes truly shocks me.
Yeah.
Like, there's people willing to walk through the airport dressed like total shit intentionally because that's what people do for flights a lot of the time.
Right.
And then they just toss on their $500 headphones, and I look at them, I'm like, okay, like you could stand and not wear like pajama pants right now on this flight. Like, just come on, like.
But you're calling out earbuds specifically, so you're okay with the AirPod Max?
I'm fine with it. I'm just saying that they're out in terms of the use that I'm seeing. I'm seeing more and more people wearing the over-ear headphones, whether they're Bose, whether they're AirPod Max, whether they're whatever, that like, I just don't think I don't think a new set of AirPods is going to move the needle as much as an upgraded set of AirPod Maxes.
That's 100% true.
Like, I'm not out on earbuds. I like my wired headphones. The reason I like them is because I will not lose them. Like, that's why I like them.
Right.
And anytime that I'm using them, I'm in a very personal situation where it's just me chilling. Like, it's not like I'm like walking around doing stuff. I'm probably sitting down and listening to something. And so I see there being a movement towards the larger headphones.
Definitely.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
I'm seeing more and more over the ear headphones even at the gym. It's a very popular
Crazy
place
behavior.
to
AirPod Maxes at the gym to me is crazy.
Yeah.
They don't have leather pads on the thing, so you can't just wipe them off. Like, those are going to be damp when you go home. Like, you're gonna have to take those off and put them in the dryer.
It seems like it, yeah. But I guess, for me, I get so bothered by over-the-ear headphones that I'm not going to be spending. I'm not even tempted to spend the $500 on a nice pair like that, because they won't work for me. I can deal with the earbuds in my ears for a lot longer. So,
are you ready for my official take?
Yeah.
I will not, under any circumstances, be purchasing another pair of AirPod Maxes.
Okay.
I have, because, this is a podcast company.
Yeah.
I justified buying 2 pairs of noise canceling wireless over-ear headphones. And after close to 2 years, I guess, of testing this out, I'm officially a larger fan of my Bose headphones that are far cheaper. You can find them at a discount at a much more rapid clip.
Okay.
They are simply lighter. They're nicer. They seem more efficient. I just like them more. And like, AirPod Max has now changed the charging to be a normal cord, but they've been operating under the old charging cord for the old iPhone.
Yeah.
With the 3 little hashes.
Right.
What are we doing here? Like, you release this way too late in the game to be putting that charger on it. So I'm traveling with a different charger. Granted, with Bose, you have to travel with a different charger too. But like, no, I'm not doing the heavy headphones anymore. The way that they sit on your head is too heavy.
Yeah.
That, like, I don't think people want to admit that, because once you've spent that much on a pair of headphones, you don't want to have buyer's remorse.
You're locked in. Yeah.
But if you try on a pair of Bose versus a pair of AirPod Maxes, you will see how much heavier they are. And as somebody who just did a very long flight wearing only those, I wish that I'd had my Bose on me the entire time.
Well, some of these headphones, Bose, AirPod Max, they're great for listening to music, especially stuff that's bass heavy. And my very first I've had this on my list for a couple of months now, just waiting for this episode, is Amapiano and Afrobeats.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with either of these genres. Amapiano specifically is what I just absolutely love right now. An artist that is kind of led the charge, and I think kind of really, really added to the rise of this genre and the popularity of it is Tyla.
Yeah, Tyla is more popular than I ever bargained for, and I learned this at the VMAs the other night.
Yeah. And it's essentially like it comes out of South Africa, and it's basically like a lot of stuff. Like if you put on a tropical house playlist, it's all going to sound pretty similar. Same with Amapiano. Like, you are going to recognize, you're going to hear it and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I know what this is, because it's very, very similar, like drums and bass lines. And it feels very like you know that it's out of South Africa. Like, it has that vibe to it. And it's just so cool. It makes you want to like lounge. It makes you want to dance. It's, I put it on at a studio shoot, like photographing product for Howler Brothers a couple of months back, and it was just like we're just vibing the whole time. Everybody's swagged out. It's my new favorite. It's essentially replacing tropical house for me. It's just like the kind of go-to Like you can just throw a playlist of this on and it's just all vibes.
I'm reading here that the big three of Afrobeat are Davido, Wizkid, and Burna Boy.
Okay.
I've heard of Wizkid and Burna Boy.
Yeah, so Afrobeats is a little bit different, but it shares some DNA, obviously. And it's kind of, I feel like it's also a super hot genre right now that's ready to kind of take off.
I think I'm in. I think I have some playlists that might be adjacent to this, but I think it might be, I think the music that I have in those playlists is maybe too old and I need to start updating myself.
Okay.
I'm going to dip in. I'll dip in because this sounds in my, this sounds like it would be a good addition to my listening environment.
I'm going to jump to another in that I have, Will, and that's EDM sets. I feel like we're ready to go back to listening to a DJ at concerts and festivals.
But you were so anti listening to a DJ not long ago.
I'm back in.
Okay.
I'm back in.
Okay.
The buzz for Pretty Lights at ACL is off the charts. I think it's going to be one of the most
love Pretty Lights.
One of the most popular shows.
People love Pretty
Lights. You know
Lights.
who they're putting up against Chapel Roan? San Holo.
Like everything you're saying right now is it's like I'm listening to someone speak Spanish and I'm picking up on a couple words, but I'm not getting it all.
On my Spotify release radar, I'm getting like all sorts of like new Diplo tracks. I'm getting Tiesto remixes of Taylor Swift. I think Bass Nectar is on tour again. Where's my guy Girl Talk? Like bring
No, we're not bringing back Girl Talk. Girl Talk was the worst concert I've ever been to, and it wasn't close.
But like this was so hot for so long, and I feel like over the last 5 years, I feel like EDM got crushed by the pandemic. Really, is what happened, and then all these other genres kind of like rose to the top, and like Western's real big now, and like jam bands super huge. But I almost could give some credit to the jam bands and to the Sphere maybe for bringing back like the spectacle. Like you can go to a show and like the visuals can be the show almost more than, or at least they're as important as the music itself.
Like a lot of jam bands take hiring their lighting team as seriously as adding someone to the band.
Right.
And it's necessary because that's like, I mean, when you're listening to like a 23-minute song, you need visuals to go along with it to keep people invested, especially if you're not there just for the music.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, Charlie XCX, like all the promotion that she's done for Brat, not all of it, a serious amount of the social promotion is just putting up a camera at a set.
Yeah.
And just showing that it's fun, showing that it's cool, seeing people in the background just kind of noodling and enjoying themselves. Like it's a very good way of doing it. And it makes me want to go listen to that music in a club setting.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. That's the other thing. I'm watching, I finally started Industry first episode. Did we already talk about this? Just has like a banger of a club scene. I don't know. I'm just back in on EDM.
Yeah. I'm so in on Industry. I'm so in. Well, on the EDM side of things, I'll talk about my number 7, Britcore. I think this is mainly spearheaded by, I think that Charlie XCX got us there, and I think Oasis getting back together just really propelled everything.
Yeah, right. Yes.
It doesn't Britain is just putting out a lot of good culture right now. And when it comes to that, I mean, we've got every company trying to do stuff with the Oasis brothers. Like Liam Gallagher just had some new Adidas get put out. I think Stone Island's doing stuff with them. It's a good time, especially with fall being here, to just get in on Britcore, Britpop, just anything. It's just working.
I'm envisioning, in my mind, I'm putting it all together, but I feel like maybe. Like, do we need to get out Dublin way for the Oasis reunion tour? Like,
I would like to.
Is that how we package up a little Ireland?
Maybe
Ireland trip is by seeing the Gallagher brothers.
I haven't even looked at resale for tickets at these concerts yet. Like, I just don't even want to think about it. It's so anxiety inducing thinking about how much it costs to get into these things. I just need to. I mean, Eras tour was bad, and there were reports that all the resale for Oasis was going to be bigger than Eras tour.
No.
Yes. The baseline price of the tickets were, I think they originally started higher than Eras Tour did, but it's more limited. It's not something that's going like across the entire world right now. All these were limited to the UK. You had all these American fans that want to go over and see it. You have the the way that the Taylor Swift Eras Tour stuff started panning out was that it was cheaper to go to a foreign country to do it. And so I think that got like almost normalized to some people to go see like a big show in a different country. I saw so many people traveling to like Wembley where I'm like, you're going to Wembley for the Eras Tour?
Yeah.
Like that. How can that possibly be cheaper to go stay in London?
It's not. That's a lie.
Is this how people are skirting the, no, it's cheaper.
Yes.
I kind of respect that.
The tickets are cheaper.
Yes.
Not getting on a flight to London and then putting yourself up in a London hotel.
I mean, you saw the Brazil tickets, you were like, oh yeah, definitely it's cheaper to go to Brazil than go to Houston for this. So maybe I just won't.
Okay. Well, I'm keeping my ear to the streets on Oasis tickets.
I'm just waiting for the US dates.
They'll come.
If I need to go to New York for it, then so be it. If we need to go to LA
I'm just saying, wouldn't it be, to your Britcore point?
Yes.
Like, don't you want to be like next to well, maybe you don't want to be next to some real lads.
No, I'd be intimidated. It's like cool teens, dude.
Yeah, it's true.
You got to be careful.
It'd be dangerous. It might be dangerous. The hooligans
They'd
out
be like,
there.
why is this American singing along with a British accent right now? Why is he completely modifying his voice?
But I am looking for any opportunity to get out London or Dublin way.
I'm too.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's talk drinks, man. Let's talk wine. Let's talk.
I have two combating drink things.
Okay.
In light reds. Out. I put Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
I'm just talking all heavy reds.
Yeah. Okay.
If somebody at our group dinner orders a heavy red, I'm like, man, like, can we get something a little lighter here?
Right.
Like, I truly think that drinking heavy reds was the reason that I complained about getting nauseous on this podcast after drinking red wine. I think it's the heavier it goes, the worse I feel. And I just want something light, something good, something on the $1 sign to $4 sign scale. I want something $1 to $2 signs.
The downfall of heavy reds needs to be studied. Like, what's happening here? Because everybody that I talk to, especially here in Austin, is like out on heavy reds.
Here's why. Want my thought process here?
Most of us are fully drinking like mostly white wine right now.
Yeah.
And then if we're doing reds, it's light.
Here's my take on it. I've been to Napa twice now in the last 5 years. Once for pleasure, once for a wedding, which I still had a good time at, obviously. But everything there was expensive, overpriced, heavy reds. And I just did, it nudged me away from it. I was like, I don't like this. And then the more that I started drinking and trying to learn about like Italian reds that were a little lighter, French wines, anything, I was like, oh yeah, this, like, why am I trying to overspend on a bunch of California red wine when I can get lighter, less expensive red wine at the store?
Yeah.
That I don't feel like I'm getting killed on. And for me, it started with price. Like Napa is so expensive and ridiculous that I don't even want to go back there at this point. It's like the Eras Tour. You might as well just go to France and go wine taste over there. I think you can legitimately do it cheaper.
No, that's a good point. As people got tighter and tighter with their wallets, it's like, you can have a excellent white, whether it be like a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc or whatever, for like way less than $20 a bottle.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a what's on my out list here, Will, and that's $20 glasses of wine.
Yeah.
I want to gas a place. I'm also going to salt them a little bit. I went to Lenoir. We went to Lenoir last weekend, just kind of on a whim. And I love that place. I'll speak highly of them when we get to another one of my inns. But like, it was sticker shock looking at the wine list.
Just slap in the face
there. Because we've already we've talked ad nauseum about how in Italy, in Spain, it's like €3, €5, €6. Maybe you'll see like €7-8 for a glass of wine.
We got the most expensive glass of Lambrusco at lunch one day at a spot in Modena, and it was €8.
Well, I actually tried to look this up after I put it on my out list. Like, why is wine so insanely expensive?
And they know what they're doing too. They used to have the cab be the most expensive on the wine menu when like everyone was going all in on cabs, and now they know, hold on, let's make these Pinots $22 instead. And it's like, stop it. I'm going to order a cocktail if the glass of wine is over $16.
So that's what I started noticing. It's like it used to be like the specialty cocktails were the most expensive thing on the menu, right? Like $16, $18, whatever it might be for the nicest cocktails or the Manhattans or the special old fashioned that they were doing. Now wine is the most expensive thing on the drink menu.
Yes.
It's insane. And it's like I know bottles of wine stateside have gotten more expensive, but not as expensive as the glasses of wine have gotten.
It's terrible.
Fressa's the other day. I met my parents at Fressa's. Everything's $14 or $15.
No, they serve bowls there. You're serving cardboard bowls.
Yeah. Like that is a casual, low-key place where you're mostly dining outdoors and having like nachos and margaritas.
Crazy.
And everything on their wine by the glass list is $14, $15, $16. Like, what is happening? This is highway robbery. Are they trying to get us to buy bottles of wine instead?
Maybe. But here's what I'm going to start doing. Here's what I'm going to start doing, Barrett. I'm going to start seeing what the corkage fee is at restaurants. I might just be the guy who's like, no, I'm bringing this nice bottle that cost me $30 at the store. And I know that we might have to pay $30 on top of it, but that's still better than what everyone's dealing with now.
Yeah. The glasses of wine, it's gotten out of control. And it's like, if you're charging me $20 for a glass of wine, like that better be a phenomenal wine. Like that should be like, I should have to go pay like $120 for that bottle in the store. Something I'm not going to buy. Right. Yeah. But it's not, that's not what they're doing.
No. If I know what the wine is and it costs more than $100 on the menu, then that's a major issue. Cause I don't know what nice wines are.
So, I'm very, very over that, and I hope something changes. Otherwise, I'm pretty much like one. I'm just ordering the cheapest glass of wine that they have. I'm like, if the wines are all this expensive, then your cheapest one must not be that bad.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking.
But otherwise, I'm like, I'm drinking more cocktails. I'm going beers. Like, I don't want a $20 glass of wine.
For lack of a better word, I had a roommate. He only lived with us for like month stints at a time, but he was French. His parents owned a vineyard. I told him I was going to bring over a bottle of wine for dinner because he was cooking us dinner. And he asked me where I got it from. And I said it was from a wine club we signed up for hesitantly in Napa. And he looked at me and he said, I'm not trying to be a jerk right now. Cancel this membership. He's like, you should never pay this much for this bottle of wine.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll take you to the store and I'll just show you good French wines that you can get for anywhere between $15 and $40. And you will have much better wine than anything you're doing. And I was just like, it was almost like a raw moment. It was like, man, I'm just getting exposed at this group dinner right now, but I'm also glad that he's doing it because he wouldn't do this to me if one, he didn't like me, and two, if he didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah.
And from that point on, now I'm just like, yeah, hey, Napa, see you later. You guys are overcharging for everything. I'm not dealing with it. And so I'm going all in on light reds.
What about clarified cocktails? Well, this is your number 6 in.
I'm seeing more and more on menus.
What does that mean?
Okay. So I've never done this myself. I have a friend who's done it who does it and has served me a cocktail that was really good. But he's just good at these things. But it says a clarified cocktail is a mixed drink that has been strained or treated with a clarifying agent to remove impurities and achieve a clear appearance. The clarification process can improve the drink's texture, taste, and visual appeal. Like milk punch is one of them. I think most people think that milk punch is just made with like milk that's just like milk? Stirred in, and it's not. But it kind of has this like almost like
it's like achieving a clear.
Yeah, it's like kind of like
a clear look.
I don't want to call it milky, but yeah, it's like more clear. I mean, they call it it's milk washing, and so
interesting.
I'm just reading right now. It involves mixing a liquid with milk and then straining it. It dates back to the 1700s and was first used by British homemaker Mary Rocket.
So are you at home making milk punches right now?
I am not, but I am seeing clarified cocktails on more and more menus.
Got it.
And I haven't had one that I dislike at this point. I can't tell you what I had and what I liked, but when I see it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like a nice little like cool zag here. But I'm just seeing it more, and I think I'm into it as long as I'm not the one doing the process. I don't want to be mixing my stuff with milk.
Well, I think we've covered drinks.
Yes.
Let's move on to food.
Okay.
Not sure you have any food, but I've got some food takes.
Food was somewhere that I struggled with.
Do you want my ins on food or do you want my outs on food to start?
Let's start with your ins. I struggled with food because I have not been going to very many restaurants lately, and so I feel like anything I was putting on my list was almost disingenuous because I wasn't I wasn't getting it from personal experience.
Okay. All right. On my in list, I've got eggplant. You know, I love to include a vegetable on my in and my out lists. It's eggplant this season. I like the color eggplant, and I love it when a restaurant cooks eggplant because they know what they're doing. They know how to make eggplant taste amazing. Whether it's the eggplant pizza, which is low key maybe the best pizza at Home Slice here in Austin, or an unbelievable,
It's so good.
or an unbelievable dish that I had at Lenoir last weekend, which was basically a chicken fried steak, but instead of chicken, it was eggplant. Had a little chili crisp on top. It was unbelievable. I feel like, you know, after 11 Madison Park and Noma moved to being vegan based restaurants, I feel like that's like a major flex for really good restaurants is how well can you cook vegetables and almost like show me these new flavors and tastes and also not make me miss the meat at all. And I feel like eggplant is just like a star ingredient for that type of cooking with vegetables. And I'm happy to see it on more and more menus because when done right, it's excellent. And eggplant it's tough. It can be tough to work with at home. Like I've tried grilling eggplant before and it like got too mushy. Like you really gotta, it takes some little bit of expertise, but
I had eggplant on my fall winter in-out last year.
Oh wow!
But this was on the heels of my pescatarian journey.
Okay,
and I had been ordering instead of getting the chicken parmesan at Italian restaurants. I started doing the eggplant parm more, and the eggplant pizza was a major player when we get pizza. And I have really enjoyed it ever since that.
Well, like it's still in.
I love it. Eggplant parm is such a better version of a parm dish compared to chicken. And I think it's cheaper, which I don't want to pay more money for giant white chicken breasts. Like when I could have a well-cooked eggplant that I don't know how to cook myself at home. That's why I'm paying the chef to do that dish. Yeah. Because you're going to crush it compared to me.
Also on my in list, I've got jams and compotes. This is spinning off a few things. One, I'm such a breakfast guy. I love a toast. I love a pastry. And like a good jam is so underrated, you know? Like I love high-end pastries. I like a Queen Amman. I like an almond croissant. I like a beautiful cinnamon roll, whatever it might be. But sometimes just getting a piece of toast with some butter and a really good jam.
Oh yeah.
It's just like that's I feel like that's also very British. Maybe that's a little bit of
marmalade
of Brit course.
I mean, we got Paddington coming back, and that little dude loves marmalade.
He loves marmalade, yeah. And on top of that, I feel like everybody's kind of struggling to know maybe what to bring a host this holiday season. Just go to your nice grocery store, Central Market, Whole Foods, whatever. Get them a nice jam. Get them a compote.
So there's a company called American Spoon, spoon.com, if you're going to go try to look at this, that does a lot of them right out of northern Michigan. They have a nationwide, I mean, they're big now, but they have such good jellies, jams, compotes at all. I always, whenever my mom asks what I want for Christmas, I'm like, get me a bunch of stuff. It's going to last me forever in my fridge.
Yes.
We've got stuff that is like a year old. Sally bought some more, not thinking that we still had some, and I was like, "Well, it doesn't really matter. It keeps forever."
They call it preserves for a reason, right?
Exactly. We got too much pumpkin butter on our hands right now.
Right. But that's where I'm at on my in for food. My out, crudo. I've had enough.
You're just over it.
I'm just over it.
It's not a sexy option anymore.
It's not no. It's very much not.
Everyone's got a crudo.
Everybody has a crudo. Everybody wants to put yuzu on it for some reason. Like it's oversaturated, man. It's ubiquitous. It's on every single menu. I'm no longer interested in you thinly slicing some hamachi, dumping some citric stuff, some citrus stuff on it, and then charging me $28 for 4 slices of fish. I feel like the prices for crudos are going down because they're becoming more popular, but I don't want the price of crudo to go down. That doesn't make me feel better about the crudo that I'm eating. I used to order that because if I saw it at a restaurant that had good fish, it was like, well, that's a really good way to eat some really fresh fish. But now it's so commonplace that I don't trust it anymore. I'm like, I don't. Right. No, that makes a lot of sense.
This burger place shouldn't have a crudo on their menu.
Yeah.
It's just unnecessary. I had one in for food. Getting a nice steak and splitting it with the table.
Okay.
This might be because of my underconsumption of meat, and I have been eating much more regular meat lately. But I feel like a very good compromise for people at nice restaurants is that nobody wants to go spend $60 on their steak at a group dinner or anything like that. And it's like, well, let's get a big steak and we can all have a couple bites of it and everyone will be satiated.
I like this
and I
move.
have not seen anyone complain about this.
No.
I also have found that this is what Sally and her friends and coworkers and sisters have been doing at group dinners just for themselves. Like Sally doesn't want to go sit down and eat an 8-ounce filet before going to a second location.
Yeah.
And so getting like one of the nicer steaks and splitting it up and each paying, $18 a person for $100 steak, and where you can see what it tastes like and then just get a bunch of sides. It not only helps your bill, but it doesn't just cause you to get the meat sweats when you're at your second location.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm very much, I don't love splitting entrees in general, but if we want to split a giant steak and each just get a little bit of it, I'm fine with that.
You don't think about like a big protein dish as like something to share with the table, but it actually makes for a great shareable dish, especially at places where they like serve it like kind of already sliced.
Most nice places that have good steak are totally willing to pre-slice it for you before it comes out and do that.
Yeah. Where should we go next, Will?
Oh man.
Let's go to some random ones.
Okay.
Tell me about your number 2 in.
So Scottish plaids.
Yeah.
J. Crew is currently offering a plaid waxed jacket.
Okay.
I have found that a lot of alternatives for kind of those barn coats, wax jackets, whatever you want to do, have kind of been a low-key plaid. And I was already seeing a lot of the big sites kind of pop up and have this. And I'm okay with it as long as it's not too loud. What really put me over the edge to put this on my list, though, was the fact that Taylor Swift has been wearing plaid like crazy lately.
Yeah.
And while I don't think she's doing it in a good way, I do think that there are going to be waves to this. And everyone else, as we enter fall, is going to start adding more and more plaid to their repertoire.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying that I love the plaid look, but I am saying that I think it's going to be more in than it currently is in a month's time.
Okay.
Maybe I'll add something plaid to the mix. Like, I don't hate the look of this jacket at all, even though it's, it's pretty waspy.
Very waspy, yes.
But it's also low key enough that if you're in a dark restaurant, I don't think most people are going to be like, what's that plaid jacket doing?
So you weren't fucking with this look from Taylor Swift.
She's kind of skewing. Maybe this has to do with my number 9 on my in list, but she's kind of skewing like hit me baby one more time,
Yeah.
Maybe it's the 90s in me, or maybe it's the 90s getting more and more popular and I guess sustaining its popularity right now. But I'm not into it. I'm not into what she's been doing. She's been doing a lot brighter plaids.
Are you a plaid shirt guy? Like you rock
if I
plaid
wear
shirts?
a plaid shirt,
I feel like I don't see you in plaid shirts.
If I wear a plaid shirt, it will be underneath a sweater only.
Okay.
Like I will cover it, most of it up, and it will simply just be my accessory is the print.
You don't feel like you need to like up your plaid shirt game if you're going to start wearing like khaki barn jackets and stuff like that?
I probably do.
Yeah.
I probably do. Like if you go into my dad's closet, it's just plaid shirts everywhere. I mean, it's insane.
I like to talk about shopping your own closet. You just need to shop your dad's closet.
I don't, he and I might be currently different sizes.
Okay.
But there is a world where I'm going to be absolutely feasting on his closet one day.
Okay. All right. So we got Scottish plaid.
Mm-hmm.
We got plaids.
You want me to speak to the 90s It Girls as my number 9?
Yeah.
I mean, as we know, the 90s have been hot for forever now. But the It Girls from the 90s, they're looking great. I'm talking Paris Hilton. I'm talking Christina Aguilera. I am hyper specifically talking Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
Their surgeons are doing God's work. They look like they are still in the 90s. And they're getting together. Like we have, I think, they're ascending right now.
Yeah.
I think like Nylon just did a big shoot with Paris Hilton where she just looks as relevant as ever. Even someone like Katy Perry can be lumped into this in a way, because I'm not saying that everything she's doing is right now. But what I am saying is that she is very much in the public eye right now. Her PR company is doing everything they can to make sure that she is there and promoting this album.
Yeah.
But her second single from the album got so much more love than the first single that I'm like, all right, maybe that was just a first single miss.
All right.
It's a good time to be a 90s It Girl.
I saw a photo on like Just Jared or whatever of Lindsay, and I immediately was like, oh man, like I think she's bounced back.
Yeah.
She did it. And I hope that she is as healthy as she looks, both mentally and physically, because she really does look like she is kind of like recovered from everything that was going on. She looks really happy, and like I went straight to the comments, and like everybody was kind of saying the same thing, like, "Oh my God!" Like
I have some friends who met her recently.
Really?
Yes, she was staying at the same hotel as them, and their daughter. I think they used their daughter to go up and start the conversation.
Okay,
and they were like, "She's glowing. She looks great.
Yeah,
she was so nice.
Love
like
it.
I'm all in." And
yes, and sorry, go ahead. Keep
I was just, like, there was, I think it was Vanity Fair back in the day. They had a magazine shoot that I will always look at as being iconic because it got every it girl from that era and put them on the same cover together.
Yeah.
And like it was Hillary Duff. Keep an eye out. Like Hillary Duff just had her baby.
Yeah.
Once she's done with this, like, you know, the first days of having a baby.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Hillary Duff revenge. Like she's gonna be back.
Younger reboot.
No, we're not doing a younger reboot. We're not doing a younger reboot. But like she needs something now. She's gonna have to. And I mean, yeah, as we know, her other show got canceled.
How I Met Your Father, is that the one?
Must have been.
Yeah.
Like that's canceled. So I mean, she's ripe to get a new gig and do a new PR tour and do everything.
Good shouts to Paris too. You're right. She does seem more relevant than ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And seems to be doing really well and just kind of like crushing it lately. You were kind of talking like 90s it girls pop culture wise there. Maybe you know who was in the public eye, who was making music, that type of thing. The 90s it girls also include a battery of supermodels, Will.
Oh yeah.
One of whom is Cindy Crawford. Now, you might be familiar with Cindy Crawford's daughter, Kaya Gerber.
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
Look at a photo of them side by side, and you'll feel like an idiot for not knowing.
Yeah. I don't even need to look at a photo. I'm currently imagining Kaya Gerber's face, being like, "Yeah, okay, yeah."
Now, Kaya Gerber, she's been known to date some pretty stately men. Will, 6'5" Jacob Elordi, 6'+ Austin Butler. Thank you, thank you, Randy. But Will, on my fall in list,
did Randy have that in his hand, ready to go?
Just quick with it.
Yep. He heard me talking. As soon as he heard Kaya Gerber, he knew he had to get it ready.
He knew.
In Short Kings.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are now split rumors between Austin Butler and Kaya Gerber because of how demonstrably she was canoodling with 5'7" SNL star Marcelo Hernandez. Have you seen this, Will?
I have not. And if you would have told me who she was canoodling with,
you would never have guessed Marcelo Hernandez.
Correct. He's hilarious. He is hilarious, and humor goes a long way in courting women.
This is a big win for funny guys. It's also a massive win for the Short Kings out there.
I almost had something similar to this. Like my brain started going down a path to having Short Kings on my list. I just didn't get there.
If Marcelo Hernandez is canoodling with Kaya Gerber, there is no limit. Short Kings out there.
As long as Zendaya is dating Tom Holland, Short Kings have it made in the shade.
When I saw this news, I thought that Dumois was like accidentally combining headlines or doing something intentionally like misleading with their kind of clickbait thing. No. This is fueling rumors that Austin and Kaya recently split, and look, man, the photos they don't lie. And she was getting, at the very least, getting very cozy and very flirtatious with one Marcelo Hernandez.
I did Marcelo Hernandez. I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Here's where I'm going back to Emily in Paris, but my guy Benoit, who's I think he's swooping back in on Mindy.
Here's the thing, Barrett. I'm one of the people that watches Emily in Paris and can only name one character, Emily. I called someone Sylvie the other night, and Sally's like, "You're talking about you're just mixing everybody."
Let me reframe it for you. Emily's best friend, her roommate, is Mindy. Mindy has been dating the son of the CEO of JVMH, the massive fashion conglomerate.
Yep.
But she was dating her bandmate, Short King Benoit, and now he is as you've seen in episode 6. Things are getting spicy between them again. He's swooping back in.
Yep.
I got Jeremy Allen White cleaning up at the Emmys again.
True.
And Barry Kogan, obviously recently, he was also involved in a breakup with Sabrina Carpenter, but he was out there and he was dating her.
If you're a
And he was
short
loving
king,
every second of it, and he's maybe the new Joker, and he's having sex with graveyards and stuff like that. So he's just he is out there as well. I'm just keep an eye. I mean, you got to watch out.
if
for
you're
the
a short
kings.
king, do you want to date a Sabrina Carpenter who's like 4'11",
Who's
5 foot,
5 feet tall,
and make you look taller, or is the ultimate flex to date like a
No, the
Kaya
ultimate-
Gerber
the
and just
ultimate-
have like her on your arm?
That's the ultimate flex.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
the ultimate flex.
Yeah.
This is I can't get over the Marcelo and Kai. I hope that we haven't seen something like this since Tom Cruise pulled Nicole Kidman in like 1993.
Yeah, if Pete Davidson didn't have his resume, like him with Kim Kardashian was like shocking to me. But like he has such a resume of like it girls that it's like, yeah, it does make sense.
Who's that?
Pete Davidson.
What about him though?
When he was dating Kim Kardashian, it was like, what? Those two are dating? Like they're on the opposite sides of the spectrum right now to me.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just didn't make sense. But that doesn't really equate like we're talking now.
Yeah, because Pete Davidson's like 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah.
And funny.
And very funny.
And funny.
But
Haven't heard from him in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, if you see any good looking short kings out there, you better cuff up your girl.
Snatch them up.
That's all I'm saying.
Put them in your pocket.
Yeah.
What else we got? Let's see.
Let's see. Any other random ins that you've got before we get to
I have
maybe
two
some,
more
to
ins.
some fashion stuff that we do have in here?
Let me do my non-fashion related in, showing political bias indirectly with likes.
Okay.
If you weren't going to Taylor Swift's post and just absolutely stalking who was liking her post to see which celebrities leaned which way, then you're better than me, because that's all I was doing. I just wanted to know, all right, like who's not willing to post an Instagram story, but who's willing to like Taylor Swift's post?
Yeah.
And you saw a lot of celebrities doing it. I think that, political tensions rise up so much during election years that everybody kind of wants to have a say. Everyone has an opinion in some way, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you even want to talk about it or not.
Sure.
But I do think that a lot of celebrities are showing their cards through internet activity rather than activism.
Actually, and actually having to say anything.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. As long as you're taking a stand in some way, I'm okay with it.
It's been really interesting to see. I find this quite funny. I also let's also just like I do wish people that could be a little bit more chill about this. Whether it's Brittany Mahomes liking a Trump post or Caitlin Clark liking a Kamala post, like let them live, man. You know. Like this does not. It doesn't have to. People have different opinions. That's the world. That is the world that we live in. It's literally in America. It's pretty much 50-50.
Yeah,
and so it shouldn't come as a shock when somebody goes either way. You know what I mean?
I never want someone to dislike me because of my political views, and I would love to live in a world where I can talk about things that I feel in any setting without having to think about it, without having to holster anything or without having to whatever. But unfortunately, it's just not like that. Yeah. And that's fine. But I never want to dislike someone because of their political views unless their political views are directly infringing on my rights. And so it's like, it's just one of those things where like I can't justify hating someone solely because of how they vote, because you're immediately lopping off. Like I might not associate with somebody based on, they just talk politics too much. Like no one wants to have those conversations because it always gets tense. But like, it's just one of those things where I obviously just kind of stay out of it in most scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah. And
except for checking who's liking what post.
Yes,
I'm doing this on. I'm not just doing this for Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala. I'm doing this on other pages where I'm like, well, I want to see who's following these people just to know, like, oh, okay, just learned a little something about you. Like, it's just interesting to me.
Yeah. Okay. Should we do some fashion related ins?
Let's do fashion.
All right. I'm going to start. This is not something we talked about, but it's something that is suddenly everywhere, and that's ringer tees.
Okay.
Now you did see, obviously,
talking like Bill Simmons.
Yeah, I'm talking about tees that are in support of the ringer.
Yep.
No.
You're talking the Johnny Knoxville movie.
Yeah. Also that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. T-shirts with a contrast color ribbed neckline and maybe on the cuffs of the sleeves as well. These are everywhere right now.
You want my take?
Suddenly everyone has one, and they're hot. They're HOTTOGO, baby.
Here's the thing. Me no likey.
Okay.
I don't like them. I've never liked them. I think I must have gotten one when I was in middle school, and it just turned me off of them. This might be a bias from a small arm king out here, but the way that it like almost it doesn't totally cinch your arm, but I feel like the way that it falls on my tiny arms is not conducive to making me look good.
Okay, so that I hear you on that.
It needs to rest on your muscle, which I don't have.
I don't love like a vintage ringer tee, which almost like is essentially like a men's baby tee.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I honestly think that's why I'm seeing a lot that just kind of leave off the sleeve cuffs. Because it's like you get a little bit of the visual interest. Maybe it's like peeking through a sweater or under a coat with the neck color.
Yes,
but you don't deal with the
what I don't like.
With the potential issue with it hugging your arms too tight or not enough, and then looking funny because it's too loose or whatever that might be.
I just don't like anything with too thick of a what. Why is the word escaping me? What's this neckline? Like anything. Like I would prefer it to be very low key wherever the garment ends.
Yeah.
It's too much for me. Even if a shirt is the same color.
Yeah.
If the neckline protrudes too much or it feels like it was stitched on top of the actual shirt, it's just not something I'm into.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
I feel you. Quick shameless plug for I developed this t-shirt. This is for
Somos Verde.
For Howler Brothers for our Austin FC collection, but we did the contrast neck.
See, I like this
with no, but just avoided the sleeves.
This is much more soccer. Like it's much more of a nod to soccer than the other way of doing it with the arm.
But you are going to see this more and more. Maybe it's just kind of a short 1 or 2 season thing, but it's not something we talked about. And regardless of whether I'm going to be wearing mini ringer tees, they are definitely in. What do you have on in?
Non-Rolex luxury watches.
Yeah.
This is not me saying Rolexes are out or anything, but I feel like the Flex now is getting a cool watch that is not a Rolex.
Yep.
I think the Cartier Tank resurgence has really aided my thinking when it comes to this, but I also feel like people are now getting away, like they even want to get away from the Tank. It's like, oh, that's the second choice after Rolex. Now what's the next watch to do? But like Rolexes have become crypto bro-y and a little bit.
Yeah,
and so I just feel like the fashion bros are trying to skew away from that. I also just think there's companies out there that are putting out much more price, I don't want to say price conscious because they're still expensive, but like it doesn't hurt the wallet as much to get a Cartier watch as it does to get a Rolex.
Correct.
And I think that it's kind of a flex to not pay $30,000 for a Rolex and get like a nice luxury watch for 10 grand instead. And I just see the way that the internet's moving right now, I just see a shift away from the Rolex.
I mean, there's even I think here's what I love about the watch direction currently. When Rolex is at the top of the heap and is the most fashion forward, and that's what everybody wants and everybody thinks about. To me, personal opinion here, the alternates and the simulacrums and the things that are sort of like that don't work. It's like they're too. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah.
It's like when Rolex was the hottest thing. It's kind of like it's either a Rolex or it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, where it's like we want vintage watches or we want leather straps, smaller things. It's like sure, maybe the Cartier
smaller watches are definitely
maybe the Cartier Tank is like is the one, but there's so many other options out there that are also really really good. Everywhere from finding a $50 vintage one to the $5,000 like tank straight from Cartier.com, right? But there's so much out there that like fits the mold that it does become way more. It's way more accessible for everybody to kind of get in on that. And it's like that makes it more fun that you get to explore all sorts of nooks and crannies and tons of other brands to kind of like go for something that just fits a vibe rather than it just being like you either have a Rolex or you don't.
Yeah. I don't like how black and white it was. And it just felt like that for a while. And I don't know. I'm not a watch guy anyway, but I do like looking at watches online. I do like seeing cool watches. But it's just not.
Now that we're getting closer to December and spring 2025, are you having any non-buyer's remorse for not just pre-ordering the Noah Timex?
No.
Okay.
No. I got so annoyed the first time that it went that now I'm like, you know what? If I really want something like that, the price on that was great.
Yeah.
Like there is that, like, you know, you could get a really cool looking watch, but like I don't think if I had ordered one right now, I'm not like tracking, being like, when's it going to update? When's it going to update? I don't think I'm going to have that excitement to it.
I've seen some photos on wrist, and I actually think that it's. I love the way it looks on women. By the way, it might be slightly too big for the men.
Okay,
I know that sounds sounds paradoxical, but like we're dainty boys out here right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Correct.
Like
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
We want dainty shoes and we want dainty ass watches, and that's what it is.
Yeah,
so, Catch me on the lookout for a dainty boy watch.
I've also been reading about people getting mugged in New York lately with their Rolexes and their watches I can't pronounce, and it's like, if you can't wear that in New York, why do you have it? Like, if you can't wear your nice watch out in public in the like, the fashion capital, then what's the point of even getting one?
Yeah.
Cover that shit up with your sweater.
Yeah.
Buy a fake, buy a dupe and wear that out to your nice dinners.
I keep hearing about stuff like that too. And that exact thought has certainly crosses my mind. It's like, damn, like if you can't wear this thing out and about, then yeah, that sucks. That does suck.
I never want to have a watch that I can't tuck under a sweater or a shirt naturally. Like, I never want something that's just going to like be a bulky thing underneath something, because I don't want something that large on me. And like, when it comes to Rolexes and stuff like that, they do just skew so chunky if you go real hard in the Rolex game.
Yep.
But I want something that's just flush with my wrist and call it a day. But I'm not in the watch market, nor do I plan to be anytime soon.
Let's see.
I'm out of ins, baby.
Okay, I've got one more here. This is going to tie to something that we were talking about last week on our fall ins and outs. I was describing to you what's happening with like low top leather shoes, and then I went on to put a couple in the list that I wrote for our Substack, and then I was cruising another site earlier this week. And I think I even used this term. I think I called a low top leather shoe, talking about those Doc Martens. I think I was like, it's a shoe, but it's a boot. Well,
calling it shoot.
Turns out
a booze
that the Row has just released what they're calling a shoe boot.
I don't like you. I love the Row, man. Like, I mean, if I could have unlimited access to the Row's closet, I would do that.
You're not going for the shoe boot?
I don't think we need shoe boot. What is the point of a shoe boot? Your ankles are getting dirty. If you're walking through a puddle in that, your socks are getting absolutely drenched.
By the way, these have when I saw these, I think 2 days ago, maybe even yesterday, full size run, only huge sizes available at this point. $1,700 shoe boot from the Row. Here's what I like about the shoe boot. Last year, I was able to. I grabbed a pair of Dime, hiking boots off of Huckberry, and
I forgot about mine. I got to bust those out and put them in the forefront of my closet so that I get those.
They were the Dime. I can't remember the name right now, but they're like the low top hiker, and sometimes it's really nice to get like the chunky burliness of a boot, but not have it all up in your ankle, making your ankle uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be nice for longer walks. Sometimes there's just room for a Wallaby or a low top boot or the Doc Marten Lowell shoe, where it's like you're getting some of the boot qualities, but you're getting like the kind of the low top comfort of a shoe.
You know what my issue might be? It's that I wear shorter pants. And so I like having the coverage of the ankle. And if I wear something low like that, it's pretty much guaranteed that there's going to be a gap between the bottom of my pants and the shoe.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even fathom. I'd look like a guy wearing capri pants with just like these dainty boots popping out.
I think you could pull these off, Will. Not gonna lie.
I don't know. I think I would need to go into a store, fall in love with the look of a pair of shoe boots, and then go all in on the shoe boots. But until I actually try some on with like the pants that I wear every day, I just don't know if it's going to work for me.
Okay. All right.
There's a distance between me and that register.
Okay. On to close out our outs. Let's see. I talked Crudo. I talked $20 glasses of wine. I talked Michelin keys. Seeing if we have any ties here. Let's go with our fashion outs.
Okay.
I really only have one, so I'll start. That's Grailed. We kind of already touched on this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I can't sell anything on Grailed anymore. Nothing is moving.
I don't even look on Grailed.
And I've got some pretty good stuff on Grailed right now. I think everybody's on Depop instead.
The homies are on Depop.
I think the homies are on Depop.
And then the homies are on eBay.
And on eBay.
eBay's been great lately.
See, I always hear about eBay though, specifically for vintage. So I'm like,
yeah, I don't shop. So yeah, just to be clear, I don't shop new stuff on eBay.
Yeah,
every search term I have is LL Bean 90s vintage jacket.
Well,
like,
what I mean is like, I don't know if people are looking for Rick Owens on eBay.
Correct.
They're looking for old stuff,
exactly,
like heritage stuff, vintage, that type of thing.
Depop's the place.
So I don't know, and I know like Vinted is out there. There's some other like resale sites like that seem to be popping up. But yeah, it's a tough place because if you're not selling vintage, then I don't know exactly. I'm gonna try Depop. I'm gonna give it a try, but I think
I need to re-download the app.
I just came across something. I think it's called like Justin Reed, which is maybe like a new resell type secondary.
No, I need it to have some startup-y nickname.
But so TBD on exactly where the best place to sell some stuff is. That's if you're not dealing with like true vintage, but Grailed is definitely not the place.
Do you ever go real?
You might as well donate. The cut that you get from the real like is so fucking like low that
when last time you and I were in New York for the Nordstrom event, out of all the shopping I did, the one store that I was in that I was just like, get me the fuck out of here, was real. It was such a random. I mean, obviously people are selling their clothes and everything like that, but it was such a weird assortment. There was shit everywhere. It was not merchandised very well, and I was just like, yeah, this was a big turnoff for me.
I like the real stores sometimes.
That's the only time I'd been in one, so I could have just had a bad day.
I've cruised through New York one. It is overwhelming. It's packed. There's so much. There's like 3 floors. It's overwhelming. The Austin one is actually quite nice.
I've not been to the Austin
shop
one.
around in. You get to touch and feel some stuff that you would never ever see. Otherwise. And realreal.com, you can find some deals. You can definitely find deals.
Okay.
The problem with the stores is that the stores are all very well curated.
I didn't feel like there was anything that was actually a deal in the stores.
Yes, so you're still paying crazy prices for stuff. It's just instead of $3,000 for X, Y, or Z, it's $1,200.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So like the stores are cool, but they're almost like showrooms more than they are like places where I'm like, oh, I gotta swing by and maybe catch a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Grailed, not the place right now. I think it might be dying. What else do you have on your out list?
I have no ties / some type of accessory at dressy events. I feel like we've reached an epidemic of people defaulting to no tie at formal events, and I don't like it. Yeah. It's too casual. I think we're all going to look back on this at some point in our lives and say, you know what, this works for some scenarios, but there are so many scenarios where you just look more put together, or like you look dressier. If I was having a wedding right now, and it was not a black tie wedding, I would want everyone there to have like a tie on. I want to look back in 20 years when ties are, when everyone's wearing ties again, and I want people to be doing that. Or if you want to wear a bolo, if you want to wear a neckerchief, if you want to wear something, I just want you to spice it up. It looks unfinished to me at this point, and maybe it's because it's so widespread and such a thing that I'm having trouble doing it myself now, because I just feel like everyone looks like they're not done getting ready, or they couldn't figure out how to tie their tie before they went to the event.
Yeah. And I think in a post-pandemic world, I do like if you're not excited about dressing up when given the opportunity, you should be. Accessories are fun. Ties are fun. It's nice to look really put together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just enjoyable.
Like, don't skip the opportunity. You don't get that many of them.
And so many cool companies right now are putting out graphic ties that are actually cool, that I'm like, you could hone in on this and actually like get an absolute fit off.
Yeah.
I just enjoy it. And this was actually on things I'm wavering on that I did not include in my screenshot here. Tell me if you've seen this before. This is also an epidemic at black tie weddings. What's up with dudes only wearing their glasses when they go to a black tie wedding? Like, there's something about getting in a tuxedo where guys are like, you know what? I'm going to wear the glasses that I never wear, but I'm going to wear them to this party tonight, this wedding tonight. I'm like, what? I almost did this one time where I was like, should I go glasses tonight? And I was like, wait, no. Like, there's no reason to put on glasses to try to look smarter in my tuxedo.
Yeah. Okay. I can't say that I've noticed this.
Maybe I just noticed it. Like it might be like one person at each wedding where I'm like, I've never seen you in glasses before, but now you're wearing glasses at this wedding. What's up with that?
It's reminding me of. Did you ever see the Tom Ford film A Simple Man?
No.
It stars Colin Firth, and he's just decked out in Tom Ford the whole time, and he is also wearing like the big chunky Tom Ford glasses.
Yeah,
that's what I am. That's immediately where my mind goes, and that's the look, right? It's like a little bit bookish, but it's a little bit like it's kind of hot.
So I'm smart. Right? I'm smart and hot. I'm in my tuxedo.
Exactly.
It's like maybe they're trying to separate themselves from like the pack of penguins that everyone looks like.
Sure.
But like, I just don't. I'm not. This is why I put it in wavering. Yeah. I'm not saying it's out. I'm not saying it's in. I don't even think it's big enough to even like have this discussion about. But I'm just like, next time you go to a black tie event, just look and be like, does that person that I'm talking to normally wear glasses, or are they just busting these out for the classy stuff?
I just got an invitation to for a December event where I'll get to wear a tuxedo again, and I don't have the right glasses. And now maybe I'm a little bit bummed about that. Like, because you need the right glasses.
You do.
They got to be pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Just put it
now
out
that
there.
I'm a glasses
I'm
guy.
just putting it out there in the world.
Okay.
The other fashion thing I had was huaraches.
Okay.
At this point, I think
Are you just taking shots at Dylan right now?
No. Dylan might need to hear this though. No, the reason I'm saying this is because of fisherman sandals.
Okay.
To me, they've replaced them in being the strappy looking shoe.
Yeah.
And while I don't dislike the look of them necessarily, I do think it's a little dated and you need to upgrade until they're back again. I'm not saying throw them in the garbage or anything like that. I'm just saying it might look like you're not paying attention if you fancy yourself as someone who wants to pay attention to fashion stuff.
Right.
Like, I just don't think you can rely on those to be your casual shoes of choice when you're going, or not casual, your dressy shoes of choice when you're going to like a cocktail-y event or something. I think you need to take it one step further and save those for the pool, for the beach, for the hanging, whatever. I don't think we need to have those in dressy settings anymore.
Okay.
And I just don't own a pair. I don't love them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why. It looks like they just like fall on your feet and like find the contour of your foot or something. Like, I don't know why. There's something about, maybe it's, what is it that like people get freaked out by like the iPhone camera because of the small dots all together?
Oh,
like maybe I have that. Maybe I have that.
Yeah.
Triphobia or something.
Yeah, I forget what it is, but you know what I mean.
I feel like everybody kind of finds their dainty shoe in a way.
Yeah.
And like you're a Saba guy, and
I don't even wear those that much anymore.
And I enjoyed actually wore my pair of espadrilles yesterday and was getting compliments left and right.
The reason I don't wear my Sabas is not because I don't like them. It's because all mine look like shit because I've not taken care of them.
But and then sometimes you're a huarache guy.
I struggle.
But I do think that the fisherman sandal is that's
if I saw two guys talking at a party,
that's the one right now.
And one guy's in the huaraches, however you say it, and one guy's in the fisherman sandals. I'm like, well, the fisherman sandal guy wins this because he's paying attention, and the other guy's just coasting on his laurels or whatever you could say.
Not as hard to pull off as you think, gentlemen.
Fisherman,
the fisherman sandals.
Yeah, I'm happy with what I'm seeing.
Okay, I sort of have. I'll pivot here to an adjacent out. It's not really fashion, but it is wellness and beauty. On my out list, I have celebrity skincare companies.
Okay.
Yeah. This kind of falls into the tequila world for me, right?
Yeah.
It's like
I'm not buying celebrity tequila
George Clooney had Casamigos, Kendall 818, Matthew McConaughey. He's last through the door with Pantalones. That's it. We're done. We're good on him. We are good on celebrity-owned tequila companies. That's where I'm at with the beauty right now, right? It's like we had Fenty, we got Kylie Cosmetics. We got Rhode. I just learned that Selena Gomez is apparently a billionaire now because of her skincare company that
hers is very popular.
That I didn't even know existed.
A wide range of shades.
But that apparently like Brad Pitt has one now too.
Yes, and that's when it jumped the shark.
Right.
Like that's when I was like, Brad Pitt's skin doesn't even look good.
Rare beauty is the Selena Gomez one. But that's like I think we're good.
Yeah.
Nobody else need apply. Like, not all y'all can be billionaires off of beauty lines.
Yeah.
Right? And
let the beauty lines make their money.
Yes. Let big pharmaceutical companies profit for once.
What do you scale back?
But all these celebs are just working with some big like backer. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, They're not. They're not.
A skincare company is not like a bootstrapped company. These celebrities are not in the lab like mixing up like some minerals and some elements and being like, oh,
Yeah.
I've discovered a newly formulated
Well, does this mean you're going to return?
serum that fixes anti-age? You know what I mean? Like,
Are you returning your Rode iPhone case for your iPhone 16 Max?
You can't even get the. Can you even buy the lip balm? I don't know.
I don't know. I would assume the cases are hard to get your hands on
sold
too.
out?
Yeah.
Does Sally have one of those?
No.
Okay.
To be honest, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't keep up.
But I just feel like I've had enough. You know.
Yeah.
Let's.
It's a lot. It's unnecessary. I don't trust celebrities enough to have it. Like
right.
It's all Gwyneth Paltrow's fault with Goop.
Yeah.
Her shit slaps though. I'm still obsessed with the shampoo from Goop.
Beau Domain is Brad Pitt's skincare brand. I literally have never heard of that. I knew he had one, didn't know the name. It's the first time I've ever heard that.
It's not a good name.
But yeah.
I've got 20 slide Instagrams.
Okay.
Hand up. My last Instagram I posted was 20 slides. Just wanted to get that out there.
Sick.
Just wanted to fend off anybody trying to come at me.
I was going to come at you because I'm pretty sure
It's too much. It's too much. I will never do it again. I did it because I had a bunch of film photos on vacation. And I was like, you know what? If I got it, flaunt it.
How do you feel about going over 10 though? Like what if you want to drop 12?
Here's the thing. I don't think we should do 12. If I'm scrolling, now at this point, if I see someone post something, part of the reason I keep scrolling is to see, did they try to go all 20? Are they going all 20? And then when I get to the 12, I'm like, all right, like, did we need the extra 2? Like, I just think Instagram needs to scale it back. We don't need it. Do not let brands get 20 slides. Just anyone in Instagram, if you're listening, brands currently can't do 20 slides. Don't let the brands do 20 slides. They don't deserve that much power.
While we're shouting at Instagram, what happened to the new fonts on stories?
It just depends on whose account you have.
But I had them and now they're gone.
I don't know.
Do you have them?
I have it on Sunday Scaries. I have it on Retail Therapy. I don't have it on my personal.
No, I don't think you have it on. I don't have it on Retail Therapy.
Maybe I don't have it on Retail Therapy then. But I have it on Scaries. I know that. I think it's the same thing. I look at this the same way as I look at iPhone photos. The second iPhone came out and they had a camera on it, you could tell what was an iPhone photo and what wasn't. There's just a look about it. And we all started to get kind of, I don't know, worn down by it to where like you didn't notice the difference anymore and everything is an iPhone photo at this point. And I think that's a bad thing. Like all the original iPhone photos weren't good looking, but it was almost a flex to have the iPhone looking photo. And now with like, how can I put this? Now with like the way that, I don't know where I'm going with this. Like you just don't need to mix up the fonts on stories because we've all accepted the stock fonts from Instagram as being what it looks like. And now trying to upgrade it almost cheapens it. Like the new fonts make it look a little cheaper to me, whereas everything else was just in that zeitgeist of what Instagram is. And so I just don't like the new fonts because they just don't look in the norm.
Okay. I disagree because I feel like just like with clothes, it's like if you tell me that I have to wear the same exact clothing that I was wearing 6 years ago, it's going to feel very, very stale to me, if not straight up dated. I liked that we had more options to express ourselves through because there are not enough currently. And like I do feel like the one very specific typeface that I think you and I both use, like I hear my voice in that typeface. But it doesn't always. It's not always the tone that I want to strike. So I appreciated having like new and fun fonts to kind of like play with and potentially say something different in a story.
I'm a snob when it comes to this stuff. I taught myself Photoshop in high school. I've used Photoshop nearly every single day since that. I really enjoy good looking graphic design, and I worry that when you get new fonts put in to Instagram, you're giving too much power to those who don't deserve it. And I'm probably a bigger snob.
Okay, this is okay. Now we're getting to real talk.
Now
This
I'm-
is why you don't like it.
Now I'm even a bigger snob because most of the stuff that I usually make everything in Photoshop.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
like I am tailoring everything down to what I want.
Yeah.
The fonts that they're adding, I'm like, you're just adding a shittier version of a good looking font that you maybe don't have the rights to use or whatever it is. But like, the fonts that they're choosing, I'm not impressed. Like, I just don't think they're that good looking. Go poach some Canva ideas and get actually good looking fonts. I'll say this. So many brands use the same font that Scaries uses. I can't believe they haven't figured out a way to just get that font and just go with it.
Yeah.
It's like the de facto, like dress up the brand a little bit font at this point.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe that Instagram has not just made that the
Latched onto
font
that.
or
Yeah,
like done
yeah.
something similar. I don't know. It's just the fonts that they choose aren't good looking enough to make me want to go even use them again.
Yeah.
When I could just use something that's already in my norm, or because of how I operate with like Scaries and retail therapy, I'm just chopping in Photoshop at that point. So it's just a little more difficult.
Okay, I think we each have 2 left on our out, kind of
Okay.
random. Let's see. You just did what did we just do?
I just did 20 slide Instagrams.
You did 20 slide Instagrams. Let's pop over to one of mine. Oh, this is Instagram related as well. Man on the street interviews.
Okay.
Please stop pretending like you're walking up to random people on the street and saying, "Can we go see your apartment?" Please stop accosting
God.
people outside of bars.
The apartment thing, I'm
and-
like, this is so weird.
Please stop accosting people outside of bars and trying to get them to say Hawk Tua again or something.
Yeah. We got one really famous person out of this man on the street interview. That's all we're going to get for now.
It's enough. It's enough. Very tired of it. It's hacky. It's tired. Just put it to bed. Stop doing them.
I'm in favor of this.
What else you got?
I have tennis on out. I'm not out on tennis, but I'm out on people pretending to like tennis because of the US Open. So just stop it until the tennis season starts again.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I don't want a bunch of people appropriating tennis all fall because you went to one US Open and because it was really fun and we had an American in the final. Like tennis is great. Tennis is always going to be a great sport. They dubbed it the healthiest sport during the US Open.
Yeah.
Don't take your US Open experience and make it your personality from now on. We're not doing that.
Okay.
You can wear your hat once a week.
The thing is,
Once a week.
a cool little niche tennis brand called Tango, hooked us up with some stuff.
Yes.
And I feel like I could fit like 6 tennis balls in each of those pockets.
Yeah, it's great for a fetch for your dog too.
And that just has me kind of like, okay, if I actually get myself on a tennis court, can I keep a tennis personality?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
If you are playing tennis, you're allowed to like tennis. But if you just went to the US Open
If I just went to the US Open.
if you just went to the US Open once and you spent a bunch of money there, you're not allowed to pretend like you know every single tennis player just because you went and saw one thing and you had a program and you learned a bunch of names.
Yeah.
I'm not gatekeeping tennis because I currently don't watch professional tennis very often at all.
Yeah.
I'm good for a semifinal and a final, but I'm not watching anything else at this point. If anything, I want tennis to be back on my in list like it was in the summertime, come spring, and I want to make sure that I'm actually playing it so that I can enjoy myself. But I haven't been playing tennis for too long now.
I should have bought US Open tickets as the minute I saw challengers. I should have just.
You should have.
jumped
I almost
in.
watched challengers on the plane ride home from Italy, but then I was like, yeah, maybe that's not the best one when my screen is facing
Probably,
everybody.
Yeah.
It's
It's
a little
probably
horny.
true. Yeah, it's a little horny. The last one that I've got on my list here is ride sharing. Will, look, not trying to tell people to drink and drive. There is obviously a time and a place where ride sharing is clutch and crucial. But if you have ever driven your own car to the airport, gotten back from a trip, and walked out to your car, there is no better feeling. That's a top 3 feeling in the world for me at the moment is getting home from a trip and getting into my own car instead of having to walk to the
It's the best
to the
feeling in the
rideshare
world.
platform.
It's the best feeling in the world.
It's amazing.
This year has been the trademark year of when I will look back and say that I pivoted from being an only Uber to the airport guy to a drive to the airport myself guy.
Yeah.
If I'm gone for a week, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pay for that parking.
True. Yes.
If I'm gone for a long weekend, catch me parking.
Nope.
Catch me going to my car after, and catch me being so happy on the way home.
The ride sharing no longer being subsidized by the companies. Now, if you're only gone for a few days, you net out the same essentially.
Yeah.
Paying for the parking, and and then you get the cherry on top, which is an unbelievable feeling of getting in your own comfortable car and not having to deal with some rando that now has to drive you home. And it's beyond trips though. I just don't like getting into Ubers and Lyfts anymore. You know, like I was just at Barcelona. Unbelievable subway system. I'm so mad that we don't have good public transportation. I know the city's not really set up. I know that the city's not really set up for it, but like, I don't know. Like getting in an Uber just kind of stinks, man. And like,
it's overpriced.
Whether you go into dinner or whatever, it's like, I think we talked about this a little bit maybe a few months ago, but at this point, I'm just curbing my alcohol intake so that I can drive to and from a restaurant.
Yeah.
Rather than shelling out like $70 for a round trip.
So I don't want my Uber charges at the end of the night.
Extra drink.
If I'm the one paying for the Uber, if I'm the one queuing it up on my phone, a ride to a restaurant and a ride back from the restaurant could potentially cost me more than it would cost for my share of the meal that I'm going to. I'm not dealing with that. Like, that is insane to me.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it unless I'm actually just like, oh no, I'm going out tonight.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, I will just instead have one glass of wine, slow sip that thing at dinner, call it a day, drive home. Luckily for me, I have a wife who doesn't really care to get drunk at this point. So she's just kind of chilling and having a glass of wine and doing the same thing. And so most of the time she'll drive home and I don't need to think about it. But if she wants to go out and I can tell that she wants to go out, I have no issue falling on the sword and being like, you know what, I'll drive us tonight. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
The last thing I had was just companies pivoting from work from home. The amount of submissions that I've gotten to Sunday Scaries lately about people having to go back to the office unnecessarily.
A lot of Amazon workers out there.
I've had a lot of people even say, like, I work for a company that is forcing people to go back, and there is absolutely no reason that we should be doing this. Like, it is just, like, work from home. I think that there's a time and place for it, and I don't think that full-time work from home is also healthy, but companies forcing their employees to come in full-time 9 to 5 every single day after what we learned during the pandemic is just crazy to me. And I feel like we're at the point where society is going to force everyone to go back to work in the office, and working from home is going to be frowned upon. And I don't like that. I don't even work from home that often, mainly because working from home for me would be more chaotic with 2 kids at home. But if I didn't have 2 kids at home, there's a 100% chance that I would work from home a lot of afternoons and just get stuff done and get dialed in. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop
it. It also feels very transparent that they're just like trying to, like, you know, not lose shitloads of money on the real estate that they've already paid for.
That is the number one reason, right?
Yeah,
it's just to justify the dumb purchases that they made.
I think so.
And I think we're affected by this in Austin much more than other places, but it's just kind of a joke to me that, like, we made this terrible investment, so now we're going to make you sit in your car for 35 minutes before you come to work every day. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. And if you work for a company that's forcing you to do it and you're dreading it, go get a different job. Just start applying. I know it sounds easier than it is, but just go do it.
Retail therapy, as always, just on the side of the little guys.
Yeah, we're champions
of
big pharmaceutical companies.
Yes. Let the big pharmaceutical companies make some money and also stop making people go back to work.
Yep. Well, that's all I got. I don't have any wish list items. I think we're okay skipping that this week.
I think so. We'll get, now that we've knocked out in and out in fall fashion, we can get back to telling you what we want for fall fashion next week.
Randy, do you have any ins and outs before we get out of here? What are you feeling right now?
I got nothing. Nothing at all. You guys crushed it. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Efficient.
Nice job on the gong and the bell today.
All right. We will see you guys next week.